The lace of my wedding dress scratches against my skin as I stare at my reflection. I've spent the last hour smiling so hard my cheeks hurt. But now, alone in the bridal suite, I let my face fall. Something feels wrong. Sam, where are you hiding? Maureen's voice cuts through my thoughts as she bursts through the door, champagne sloshing dangerously close to the edge of her flute. The photographer wants some shots of you with the bridesmaids. I force my smile back into place. Coming. Maureen studies me, her head tilting slightly. Cold feet. No, I lie. Just taking a moment. The truth is more complicated. Clayton and I have been together for 3 years. He's charming, ambitious, and everyone loves him, especially my parents, who see his political aspirations as the perfect future for their daughter. But lately, something's shifted. Subtle changes in the way he looks at me. The way he changes subjects when I enter rooms. I smooth down the intricate lace of my bodice and follow Maureen into the adjoining room where Regina and Carmen wait, already 3 champagnes deep if their flushed cheeks are any indication. There she is! Regina squeals, rushing over to hug me. Our beautiful bride. Carmen hangs back, offering me a small smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. You look stunning, Samantha. Thanks, I say, accepting the champagne Regina thrusts into my hand. Has anyone seen Natalia? My sister's supposed to be helping me with my veil. She was on the phone outside, Carmen says. Seemed intense. My stomach tightens. Natalia has been skeptical about Clayton from day one. He's too perfect, she'd warned me last week during my final dress fitting. Nobody's that perfect without hiding something. I'd dismissed her concerns as paranoia. Now I'm not so sure. Oh my God, is this your wedding band? Regina picks up the platinum ring from its velvet box on the vanity. It's gorgeous. Clayton has excellent taste, Maureen agrees, taking it from Regina to examine it more closely. Something in their exchange makes my skin prickle. A look passes between them so quick I almost miss it. Let me see, Carmen says, reaching for the ring. As she turns it in her fingers, her expression changes. Is there something engraved inside? My heart stutters. What? No, there shouldn't be. There is, Carmen says, squinting at the inner band. It looks like... Give me that. I snatch the ring from her, tilting it toward the light. Inside, in tiny black script, is a name. Colin, my ex-boyfriend's name. What the hell? I whisper, blood rushing in my ears. Maureen and Regina exchange another look, this one impossible to miss. I'm sure it's just a mistake, Maureen says too quickly. The jeweler probably mixed up orders. But the ring was custom designed. Clayton had shown me sketches months ago. Let me see, Regina says, reaching for the ring again, but I close my fist around it. What's going on? I demand, looking between their faces. Why aren't you more surprised? Carmen shifts uncomfortably. Samantha, maybe you should talk to Clayton before... Before what? My voice rises. Before I walk down the aisle with my ex-boyfriend's name inside my wedding band. The door opens and Natalia enters, her face grim. She takes one look at the scene before her and says, You found out. The room goes still. Found out what? I ask, though part of me already knows. Natalia hesitates. I just overheard Clayton on the phone with someone named Colin. They were laughing about you. The champagne in my stomach threatens to come back up. What exactly did they say? That's not important right now, Maureen cuts in. What matters is you're getting married in 30 minutes. We need to focus. It sounded like they know each other, Natalia continues, ignoring Maureen. Like they're friends. The pieces click together with sickening clarity. Clayton knows Colin, the man who broke my heart 2 years before I met Clayton. The man whose betrayal left me so shattered I spent a year in therapy. You all knew, I say, looking at my bridesmaids. Didn't you? Regina rolls her eyes. Don't be dramatic, Sam. But Carmen can't meet my gaze, and Maureen's smile has turned brittle. How long? I ask, my voice barely audible. Samantha, it's your wedding day, Maureen says, stepping toward me. Don't ruin it over nothing. Nothing! I hold up the ring. This isn't nothing. They've been friends since college, Carmen blurts out. Clayton knew who you were before he met you. It wasn't It wasn't an accident. The room spins. My entire relationship a setup, a joke. The ceremony starts in 20 minutes, Regina says, checking her watch. You need to pull yourself together. I look at these women, my supposed friends, and see strangers. How long have they been laughing behind my back? How much of my life has been orchestrated for someone else's amusement? Samantha, Natalia says gently, taking my hand. What do you want to do? I look down at the ring, at the name etched inside. Then I look at my reflection in the mirror. The white dress, the carefully applied makeup, the woman who almost married a lie. I want, I say, slipping the ring into my bodice right against my heart, to walk down that aisle. Maureen exhales with relief. Thank God I knew you'd be sensible. But Natalia sees the steel in my eyes and knows better. Sam, I squeeze her hand. Don't worry, I know exactly what I'm doing. And I do. I'm going to walk down that aisle. I'm going to face Clayton. And then I'm going to make sure everyone in that church knows exactly what kind of man is standing at the altar. The church music swells as I take my first step down the aisle. My father squeezes my arm, mistaking my trembling for nerves rather than rage. The guests rise, turning to watch me with admiring smiles. I feel their eyes on me, the beautiful, blushing bride in her perfect dress with her perfect life. If only they knew. Clayton stands at the altar, handsome in his tailored tuxedo, beaming at me with practiced sincerity. The same smile he's given me 1,000 times before, the smile I once thought meant I was special. Each step feels like moving through water. The weight of betrayal presses against my chest, where Clayton's ring sits hidden, the name Colin etched inside, burning against my skin like a brand. I scan the faces of my bridesmaids. Maureen and Regina stand tall, their expressions carefully composed. Carmen looks ill, shifting her weight from one foot to the other. Only Natalia meets my gaze directly, a silent question in her eyes. Are you really going through with this? When I reach the altar, my father kisses my cheek and places my hand in Clayton's. His palm is clammy against mine. You look stunning, Clayton whispers, squeezing my fingers. I smile back, letting him see nothing but adoration in my eyes. So do you. The minister begins the ceremony. I barely hear the words over the roaring in my ears. I'm hyper-aware of Clayton beside me, of every twitch of his face, every subtle shift of his body. Was he always this transparent, or am I only seeing it now that I know to look? The couple has written their own vows, the minister announces. Clayton, would you like to begin? Clayton clears his throat and pulls a folded paper from his pocket. His voice is steady as he promises to cherish me, to honor me, to stand by me through all of life's challenges. You've made me a better man, he says, his eyes glistening with what I now recognize as manufactured emotion. I can't wait to build our future together. The guests sigh appreciatively. I wonder how many of them are in on the joke. How many know that my relationship, my entire life for the past 3 years, has been built on a lie? Samantha, the minister prompts. I take a deep breath and reach into my bodice, pulling out not my written vows but the wedding band. I hold it up between us, turning it so the light catches the engraving inside. Would you like to explain this? I ask, my voice carrying in the sudden silence. Clayton's smile falters. What? The name inside my wedding band. Colin. I say it loudly enough for the front rows to hear. My ex-boyfriend's name, the one who cheated on me with my roommate, the one who left me so broken I could barely function. A murmur ripples through the church. Clayton's eyes dart to the guests, then back to me. Samantha, this isn't the time. When is the time, Clayton? After we're married? After I've tied my life to yours without knowing the truth? I turn to face our guests. Clayton and Colin are friends, college buddies, and Clayton pursued me deliberately, knowing exactly who I was. That's not... Clayton reaches for the ring, but I close my fist around it. I heard you on the phone with him today, I continue, laughing about me. Was I a bet? A joke between friends? Or something worse? Clayton's face hardens. The charming mask slips, revealing something cold underneath. "You're making a scene," he hisses. "We can discuss this privately." "No, I'm done with secrets." I turn back to our guests. I don't know exactly what game Clayton's been playing, but I know it ends today. The church erupts in whispers. I see shock on some faces, confusion on others, and on a few, understanding. How many people knew? How many watched me fall in love with Clayton while knowing it was all a setup? "Samantha." Clayton grabs my arm, his fingers digging in painfully. "You're embarrassing yourself. Let go of me." My voice is ice. "You ungrateful bitch," he whispers so quietly only I can hear. "Do you have any idea what I've put up with for 3 years? Your insecurities, your neediness, your constant need for reassurance?" Each word is a slap. So why propose? Why go through with this charade? His eyes flick to the back of the church where his parents sit with several distinguished-looking guests. Some things are worth the sacrifice for the right optics. And there it is. The truth I've been sensing but couldn't name. I was never his love. I was his prop. A necessary accessory for a man with political ambitions. I wrench my arm from his grasp and step back. "The wedding's off," I announce, my voice steady despite the hurricane inside me. "I'm sorry for the inconvenience." I turn and walk back down the aisle, ignoring the gasps and murmurs. Clayton calls after me, his voice shifting seamlessly back to concern. "Samantha, please, let's talk about this." I don't stop. I don't look back. In the vestibule, I collide with someone. Carmen, her face pale with shock. "Sam, I'm so sorry," she whispers. "I wanted to tell you, but..." "But what?" I demand. "What was so important that you let me walk into this humiliation?" She flinches. "It's complicated. There's more you don't know." "Then tell me." Carmen glances over her shoulder, then leans closer. "It's not just about you and Colin, it's about Maureen. She and Clayton, they've been..." The church doors burst open. Maureen stands there, her eyes blazing. "Carmen, what are you doing?" Carmen steps back, the moment lost, but I've heard enough. "We're not done," I tell her quietly. "Not by a long shot." I push past Maureen and out into the sunlight, leaving behind the church full of guests, the bridesmaids who betrayed me, and the man I almost married. But I take the ring with me. A reminder. Evidence. The first piece in what's about to become my own carefully orchestrated game. 3 days after leaving Clayton at the altar, I sit in a corner booth at Café Noir, nursing a lukewarm coffee and ignoring the 37th text from my mother. The cafe smells of stale cologne and desperation. Or maybe that's just me. I've barely slept. Every time I close my eyes, I see Clayton's face as his mask slipped, revealing the stranger beneath. I hear Carmen's unfinished sentence. She and Clayton, they've been what? Sleeping together? Laughing at me? Planning something worse? The bell above the door jingles. I look up to see Helen, my former co-worker, scanning the cafe. When she spots me, her face does that thing people's faces have been doing since Saturday. A quick flash of pity, followed by uncomfortable curiosity. "Samantha," she says, sliding into the booth across from me. "Thanks for meeting me." I'd been surprised when Helen texted. We weren't close, just occasional happy-hour companions when we worked together at the marketing firm, before Clayton convinced me to quit so I could focus on our future. Another red flag I'd missed. "I wasn't sure you'd come," I admit. Helen fidgets with her scarf. "I almost didn't. But after what happened at your wedding, I couldn't stop thinking about something Clayton said at your engagement party." My heart quickens. "What did he say?" "It was when you were cutting the cake. He was talking to some guy I didn't recognize. They were laughing about how you'd finally taken the bait. I thought it was just weird guy talk, but now..." The coffee turns bitter in my mouth. "Did you hear anything else?" Helen hesitates. "He said something about how everything was going according to plan, but the timeline needed to speed up because of his campaign announcement." Campaign announcement? Of course. Clayton had been positioning himself to run for state senate. He needed a wife, the perfect political spouse. Apparently, I'd fit the bill. "There's something else," Helen says, lowering her voice. Maureen was there too. She seemed involved in the conversation. My oldest friend. The one who'd held my hand through the Colin breakup, who'd introduced me to Clayton 6 months later with a casual, "You two would be perfect together." It hadn't been casual at all. "Thank you for telling me," I say, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Helen looks relieved to have unburdened herself. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet." It's not entirely a lie. I have ideas. Dark, satisfying ideas that have been keeping me company during sleepless nights, but nothing concrete. After Helen leaves, I order another coffee and pull out my phone. I scroll through my contacts until I find the number I'm looking for. My finger hovers over it for a long moment before I press call. He answers on the third ring. "Samantha? Is that really you?" "Hello, Colin," I say, surprised by how steady my voice sounds. "We need to talk." We agree to meet at the park near my apartment. I arrive early, claiming a bench with a view of the entrance so I can see him before he sees me. When he appears, my stomach clenches. 2 years since I've seen him, and the sight of him still triggers a physical response, though now it's anger rather than heartbreak. He spots me and approaches cautiously, hands shoved in his pockets. "You look good, Sam." "Let's skip the pleasantries," I say. "I want to know about your friendship with Clayton." Colin's expression shifts, surprise then wariness. "How did you find out about that?" I hold up my left hand, bare of any ring. "He had your name engraved inside my wedding band. As what? A joke? A trophy?" "Jesus." Colin sits heavily beside me. "I knew he was a bastard, but that's—" "So you weren't in on it?" I search his face for lies. "In on what?" "The setup. You and Clayton being friends. Him pursuing me knowing I was your ex." Colin's confusion seems genuine. "Sam, Clayton and I aren't friends. We know each other, sure. We were in the same fraternity in college, but I haven't spoken to him in years. This doesn't align with what I know. I heard him on the phone with you, on my wedding day." "It wasn't me." Colin shakes his head. "I swear, I only heard about your wedding being called off through mutual friends. Either he's lying or—" "Then who was Clayton talking to?" "I don't know, but Clayton has a history of using people. Back in college, he had this system for dating girls with wealthy families or useful connections. He called it strategic networking." My skin crawls. "And Maureen? How does she fit in?" Colin's expression darkens. "Maureen, your bridesmaid. My oldest friend, or so I thought. She came to see me about a year ago. Asked a lot of questions about our relationship, why we broke up. Said she was concerned about you dating again after how I'd hurt you." The pieces start shifting in my mind, forming a different picture than the one I'd imagined. What exactly did she want to know? Personal stuff. What made you vulnerable? What you feared most? He looks away, uncomfortable. I didn't tell her much, but she was persistent. A cold certainty settles in my stomach. This wasn't just Clayton's game. Maureen had been gathering ammunition, my deepest insecurities, my greatest fears, and handing them to Clayton like a roadmap to my heart. "Why would she do that?" I whisper, more to myself than to Colin. "I don't know. But Sam—" He hesitates. "Whatever you're thinking of doing, be careful. Clayton has powerful friends, and Maureen, there's something not right there. The way she talked about you was possessive, obsessive even." As Colin walks away, I remain on the bench, turning his words over in my mind. I'd been focused on Clayton, on the humiliation of being left at the altar. But maybe I've been looking at this all wrong. Maybe the real betrayal, the one that cuts deepest, isn't from the man I almost married, but from the friend who engineered it all. And if that's true, my plans for revenge need to change accordingly. The early morning air bites at my skin as I sit on my sister's balcony, watching the city wake up. I've been staying with Natalia since the wedding disaster. I couldn't face returning to the apartment Clayton and I shared. Not yet. Couldn't sleep again? Natalia appears in the doorway, 2 steaming mugs in her hands. I accept the coffee gratefully. My brain won't shut off. She settles into the chair beside me, tucking her legs underneath her. "Want to talk about it?" I met with Colin yesterday. Her eyebrows shoot up. Your ex? Why? I tell her everything. Helen's revelation, Colin's confusion, the disturbing picture emerging of Maureen's involvement. I always thought there was something off about her, Natalia says when I finish. The way she inserted herself into your life after Colin. How she practically engineered your relationship with Clayton. I thought she was being supportive. I stare into my coffee. I was so broken after Colin that I didn't question it when she started introducing me to new people, encouraging me to date again. And then conveniently introduced you to Clayton, who she's apparently been involved with herself. The betrayal still feels fresh, a wound that reopens with each new revelation. Natalia watches me carefully. What are you planning, Sam? What makes you think I'm planning anything? Because I know you. That look in your eyes isn't just hurt, it's calculation. I sigh. There's no point hiding from Natalia. I want them to feel what I felt, the humiliation, the betrayal. I want to dismantle their lives piece by piece until they understand exactly what they did to me. Instead of the judgment I expect, Natalia nods slowly. I get it. I do. But Sam, revenge has a way of changing people, and not always for the better. I'm already changed, I say quietly. They saw to that. After breakfast, I head to the apartment I shared with Clayton. I've been avoiding it, but I need to retrieve some documents and plant a few seeds for what comes next. The doorman greets me with awkward sympathy. Ms. Samantha, I'm sorry about everything. Thank you, Eddie. I force a smile. Is he here? Mr. Clayton left about an hour ago. Said he'd be at meetings all day. Perfect. The apartment feels both familiar and foreign as I step inside. Everything is exactly as I left it the morning of the wedding, yet it all seems to belong to someone else's life now. I move efficiently, gathering my essential documents and a few sentimental items. Then I head to Clayton's home office, the one room he always kept meticulously organized and private. His computer is password protected, but I know all his passwords. Another advantage of living together for 2 years. People get careless, comfortable. I log in and start searching through his emails, looking for anything connecting him to Maureen or Colin. What I find is worse than I imagined. There's an entire folder labelled S Project, containing emails between Clayton and Maureen dating back 3 years before I even met him. They detail their plan to use me as Clayton's perfect political wife while maintaining their own relationship on the side. Subject has abandonment issues stemming from father's emotional distance. One of Maureen's emails reads, responds well to consistent attention and validation. They'd studied me like a specimen, identified my vulnerabilities, and exploited them systematically. But there's something else, something that makes my blood run cold. References to financial arrangements and the trust, my trust fund, the one I inherited from my grandmother when I turned 25, the one Clayton had been helping me manage for the past year. With shaking hands, I open my banking app. The main account looks normal, but when I check the investment portfolio Clayton had set up, I find it nearly empty. Over $2 million. Gone. The room spins. I grip the desk to steady myself, nausea rising in my throat. This wasn't just emotional manipulation. This was theft. Calculated, deliberate theft. I'm still reeling when I hear the front door open. Samantha, Clayton's voice echoes through the apartment. Eddie said you were here. I quickly close the browser and shut down the computer. By the time Clayton appears in the doorway, I'm calmly packing a photo album into my bag. What are you doing in my office? His tone is accusatory, but there's something else beneath it. Worry. Just getting some photos. I keep my voice neutral, fighting to control the rage threatening to consume me. I thought you had meetings all day. I rescheduled when Eddie called. Clayton leans against the doorframe, studying me. We need to talk, Sam. About us. About what happened. There's nothing to talk about. I think there is. His voice softens, taking on the gentle, concerned tone that used to make me feel so safe. What happened at the church? I know how it looked. but there's an explanation. I'm sure there is. I zip my bag closed and stand, but I'm not interested in hearing it. As I move to leave, Clayton blocks the doorway. The ring was a mistake, a mix-up at the jeweler's. And your phone call with Colin? The one my sister overheard? It wasn't Colin. It was Colin Matthews, my campaign manager. He reaches for my hand. Samantha, please. 3 years together means something. You can't throw it away over a misunderstanding. His touch makes my skin crawl, but I force myself not to recoil. Let him think I'm wavering. Let him believe he still has power over me. I need time, I say, pulling my hand away gently. Relief flashes across his face. Of course. Take all the time you need. I'll be here when you're ready to talk. As I walk out of the apartment, my mind is racing. Clayton thinks he's still in control, that his charm and lies will eventually win me back. He has no idea what's coming. But first, I need to understand exactly what I'm up against. And for that, I need someone who knows the darker side of Clayton's world. Someone who owes me the truth. I pull out my phone and text Carmen. We need to talk. Just you and me. No Maureen. No Regina. It's important. Her response comes almost immediately. Tomorrow, 2 p.m, the Botanical Gardens. Come alone. The Botanical Gardens are quiet on a Tuesday afternoon. I arrive early, choosing a bench near the orchid display where I can watch the entrance. My hands won't stop trembling, so I shove them into my pockets, fingers curling around Clayton's ring, the one with Colin's name inside. I've been carrying it everywhere, a tangible reminder of why I'm doing this. Carmen appears at exactly 2 sa, scanning the greenhouse until she spots me. She looks terrible, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail instead of her usual perfect styling. She approaches cautiously, like I might bolt or attack. Thanks for coming, I say when she sits beside me, leaving careful space between us. I've been trying to call you. Her voice is hoarse. Since the wedding. I know. Are you okay? She winces immediately. Sorry. Stupid question. Why did you want to meet here? I ask instead of answering. Carmen glances around. Maureen checks my phone sometimes. And Regina. She reports everything back to them. Them. Clayton and Maureen. She swallows hard. They've been together for years, Sam. Since before you met Clayton. Even though I'd suspected it, hearing it confirmed makes my stomach clench. And you knew? This whole time? Not at first. I swear. Carmen's eyes fill with tears. When Maureen introduced you to Clayton, I thought it was genuine, that she was helping her friend move on after a bad breakup. By the time I realized what was happening, you were already in love with him. What exactly was happening, Carmen? I keep my voice steady, though rage pulses beneath my skin. It started as a joke. That's what Maureen said, that it would be funny to set you up with someone who knew Colin. But then Clayton saw an opportunity. She hesitates. Your family connections, your trust fund. My perfect political wife image, I add bitterly. Carmen nods. Maureen was supposed to end it before it got serious, but then Clayton decided you were useful, and Maureen? She trails off. Maureen what? She's obsessed with him. Has been since college. She'll do anything he asks. Carmen looks away, including sharing him. The implication lands like a slap. They've been sleeping together our entire relationship. Yes, and she's not the only one. Of course she isn't. The signs were all there. Late nights at the office, business trips that seemed to multiply as our wedding approached. I'd ignored them, trusting blindly. Why are you telling me this now? I ask. Why not before the wedding? Carmen's face crumples. I tried. That day in the church, I was going to tell you everything, but Maureen interrupted us, and before that... She shakes her head. I was afraid. Of what? Of Clayton. Of what he might do. She pulls out her phone, hands shaking as she navigates to her photos. Here. The image on the screen shows Carmen with a man I don't recognize, both naked, clearly taken without their knowledge. Clayton has dozens of these, she whispers. Of me, of other women, men too. He collects them. Leverage, he calls it. Insurance against anyone who might cause problems. Ice spreads through my veins. Does he have pictures of me? Carmen won't meet my eyes. Yes. The world tilts sideways. I think of all the intimate moments with Clayton, never suspecting I was being recorded, catalogued, filed away as insurance. I'm so sorry, Samantha. Carmen's voice breaks. I should have warned you sooner. But he threatened to send these to my parents, my boss. Everyone. I take a deep breath, forcing down the bile rising in my throat. What about Regina? How does she fit into this? She's Maureen's cousin. She's known the plan from the beginning. Another betrayal. Another person I'd trusted who'd been laughing at me all along. I have to go, Carmen says suddenly, looking at her phone. Maureen's texting, asking where I am. Wait, I grab her wrist. I need to know everything. About the money, about what they're planning next. Carmen hesitates. Clayton's been moving your money offshore. Something about political financing that can't be traced back to him. And Maureen, she lowers her voice. She has a key to your sister's apartment. She's been there when you're not around. My blood turns to ice. What? Why? I don't know. But she's been obsessed with you for years, Sam. Not just because of Clayton. There's something else. Something she doesn't talk about. A memory surfaces. Maureen comforting me after Colin, staying at my apartment for weeks, going through my things to help me organize. I'd been so grateful for her support that I never questioned her intensity. Be careful, Carmen whispers. They're not just manipulative. They're dangerous. Clayton has connections with people who can make problems disappear. As she hurries away, I remain frozen on the bench, my mind racing. This is bigger than I realized. More twisted, more dangerous. Not just a betrayal of trust, but something calculated and predatory. I pull out my phone and text Natalia. Don't go home. Meet me at Xerxes' place. Now. Xerxes, my former self-defense instructor, the only person I know who exists completely outside my social circle. The one person Clayton and Maureen know nothing about. My phone buzzes with Natalia's reply. Already here. You need to see this. Attached is a photo of her apartment door, slightly ajar, the lock clearly tampered with. They're making their move. Which means I need to make mine, faster and more decisively than I'd planned. As I hurry toward the exit, my phone buzzes again. A text from an unknown number. I know what they did to you. I can help. Meet me tonight. I hesitate, then type back. Who is this? The response comes immediately. Someone else they destroyed. Someone with proof. Xerxes' apartment is exactly as I remember it. Minimalist, meticulously organized, and secure. 3 locks on the door, no windows facing the street, security cameras monitoring the hallway. The perfect sanctuary for someone who understands what it means to be hunted. You look like hell, he says when he opens the door, his accent still heavy despite 15 years in the States. Nice to see you too. I step inside, immediately scanning for Natalia. She emerges from the kitchen, face pale. Someone went through everything, Sam. My laptop, my files, even that box of photos from Mum's house. Are you okay? Did they take anything? Just this. She holds up a flash drive. Or rather, they copied it and put it back. I only know because I left it plugged in at a specific angle. My stomach drops. What's on it? Financial records. I've been documenting Clayton's suspicious transactions since you mentioned he was helping with your trust fund. Natalia's background in forensic accounting has made her paranoid about financial irregularities. I think I accidentally captured evidence of something bigger than just stealing from you. Xerxes gestures for us to sit. Tell me everything, from the beginning. I do. Laying out the whole sordid story, the wedding disaster, the revelations about Clayton and Maureen, the financial theft, Carmen's warnings, and now the break-in at Natalia's apartment. And this mysterious text? Xerxes asks, examining my phone. Could be legitimate, could be trap. I think I need to meet them, I say. If someone else has evidence against Clayton, too dangerous, Natalia interrupts. It could be Clayton or Maureen setting you up. Or it could be our only chance to understand what we're really dealing with. I take my phone back from Xerxes. I'll be careful. public place, escape routes planned. Not alone, Xerxes says firmly. I come with you. Watch from distance. I nod, grateful. The text said to meet at Riverside Park at 8, near the boat basin. Good location. Multiple exits. Xerxes stands. But first we secure your sister. She stays here tonight. I can take care of myself, Natalia protests. They broke into your apartment, I remind her. And according to Carmen, Maureen has been obsessed with me, with us, for years. We don't know what she's capable of. While Natalia reluctantly agrees to stay with Xerxes, I use his bathroom to splash cold water on my face. The woman in the mirror looks like a stranger, eyes hard, mouth set in a grim line. I barely recognize myself. Is this who I am now? Someone plotting revenge, meeting mysterious informants, suspecting everyone? My phone buzzes with a text from Clayton. We need to talk. I'm worried about you. Another from Maureen. Call me, Sam. I know you're upset, but I can explain everything. I delete them both without responding. At 7:45, Xerxes and I arrive at Riverside Park. The evening is cool, the paths dotted with joggers and dog walkers enjoying the last light of day. Xerxes positions himself on a bench with clear sightlines to the meeting point, pretending to read a newspaper like some Cold War spy. At exactly 8 crowns, a woman approaches, mid-30s, expensively dressed, nervously checking her surroundings. Samantha, she asks, stopping a few feet away. Who are you? Vanessa. She doesn't offer a hand to shake. I was engaged to Clayton 3 years ago. The ground seems to shift beneath my feet. What? He did the same thing to me. The perfect relationship, the elaborate proposal, the careful manipulation. Her voice is flat, emotionless. Except I made it all the way to the honeymoon before I discovered the truth. Which was? That I was just a stepping stone. My father was a state senator. Clayton used our relationship to build political connections, then discarded me when someone more useful came along. She studies my face. You. I wasn't useful, I say bitterly. Just gullible. You were both. Your family connections, your trust fund, your perfect image. The devoted wife with no political baggage. Vanessa glances around nervously. But that's not why I contacted you. I have evidence that Clayton and his associates are involved in something much bigger than romance scams. She pulls out a thumb drive. Financial records, offshore accounts, communications with certain political donors that suggest bribery, blackmail, and worse. I stare at the small device. Why give this to me? Why not go to the police? I tried. 2 years ago. Her laugh is hollow. The detective I spoke to was on Clayton's payroll. The next day, I lost my job. The week after, my apartment was broken into. The message was clear. So why now? Because you're the first person who's publicly humiliated him. The wedding disaster made news. People are talking. He's vulnerable for the first time. She holds out the drive. And because I recognized your name from his files, he's been planning this for years, Samantha. You specifically. My blood runs cold. What do you mean? Your name was in his files long before you met, something about a long-term acquisition strategy connected to your family's influence in media circles. She presses the drive into my hand. There's more. About Maureen. About why she targeted you. Before she can continue, her eyes widen at something over my shoulder. We're being watched. Take the drive. Look for files labelled Project Inheritance. She walks away quickly, disappearing down a path before I can stop her. I turn to see what spooked her and spot Regina standing near the park entrance, phone raised as if taking photos. Our eyes meet across the distance. She doesn't even pretend not to be following me, just smiles coldly and taps something into her phone. My own phone buzzes seconds later. A message from Clayton. We need to talk. Now, or the photos go public tomorrow. Attached is an intimate image of me that I never knew existed, clearly taken without my knowledge in our bedroom. As rage and humiliation flood through me, another text arrives, this one from Maureen. Poor Sam. Always the last to know. Come to my place tonight and we'll explain everything. Or tomorrow everyone sees exactly what Clayton saw in you. I clutch the thumb drive in my fist, my decision made. No more reacting. No more being manipulated. It's time to become the predator instead of the prey. You can't seriously be considering meeting them, Natalia says, pacing Xerxes' living room. It's obviously a trap. I connect Vanessa's thumb drive to Xerxes' laptop, a computer he assures me is unhackable and disconnected from any network. I'm not walking in blind. Files populate the screen, hundreds of them, meticulously organized. I click on the folder labeled Project Inheritance and feel the air leave my lungs. Photos of me dating back years, financial statements from my family's accounts, detailed analyses of my grandmother's will and the conditions of my trust fund. A psychological profile that makes me feel violated just skimming it. But it's the document titled MH Connection that makes my hands shake. "Oh my God," I whisper. Natalia reads over my shoulder, her face draining of colour. "Is this for real?" The document details how Maureen deliberately engineered my relationship with Colin years ago, knowing it would end badly. How she'd been working with Clayton since college, identifying potential targets for his political and financial schemes. How I wasn't just a random victim, but had been selected specifically because of my family connections and inheritance. And the reason, the twisted, sick reason, Maureen had chosen me. We're half-sisters. The daughter my father never acknowledged from an affair before he married my mother. The child who grew up watching from a distance as I received everything she believed should have been equally hers. "This explains her obsession," Natalia says quietly. "The way she inserted herself into your life after Colin. How she always seemed to know exactly how to comfort you. Because she'd studied me. For years. My own sister, plotting my destruction out of some perverted sense of justice. I'm going," I say, standing abruptly. "Sam, no, not to fall into their trap." I turn to Xerxes. "I need your help setting one of our own." 2 hours later, I stand outside Maureen's sleek downtown apartment building, my heart pounding but my mind clear. The doorman recognizes me and waves me through. I've been here countless times for girls' nights and pre-event preparations. Those memories feel like they belong to someone else now. I knock on Maureen's door, hyper-aware of the recording device Xerxes helped me conceal and the knowledge that Natalia and Xerxes are in a car outside, monitoring everything through my phone. Clayton opens the door, his expression a practiced mix of concern and relief. "Samantha, thank God you came." The apartment smells of white lilies, my favourite flower. Another calculated touch. Maureen emerges from the kitchen, wine glasses in hand. "Sam, I was afraid you wouldn't come. You threatened to release intimate photos of me." I keep my voice steady. "Not much of a choice." "We just needed to get your attention," Clayton says, closing the door behind me. "Things have gotten out of hand." That's one way of putting it. I remain standing, declining the wine Maureen offers. Finding out my fiancé and best friend have been manipulating me for years, stealing my money and recording me without consent. They exchange glances, the same silent communication I've seen countless times but never properly understood. "It wasn't like that," Maureen says. "Not at first." "Then explain it to me." I cross my arms. Explain how my own sister could do this. The glass slips from Maureen's hand, shattering on the hardwood floor. Red wine spreads like blood between us. "How did you—" she begins. "I know everything." I step over the spilled wine, moving closer. "About our father. About how you've been watching me since we were teenagers. About how you introduced me to Colin, knowing exactly what would happen." Clayton's expression shifts from false concern to cold calculation. "Whatever you think you know." "I know about Vanessa," I interrupt, "and the others before her. I know about the offshore accounts where you've been hiding my money. I know about the blackmail, the photos, all of it." "Then you know we can destroy you," Clayton says quietly. "One press release, one email to the right people, and your reputation is ruined. You won't do that." I meet his gaze steadily. "Why not?" "Because I've already sent everything to the FBI." The lie flows easily. Financial records, communications, evidence of blackmail. If anything happens to me, it all goes public. Maureen steps forward, glass crunching under her heels. You're bluffing. Am I? I pull out my phone, showing them the screen, a drafted email addressed to several news outlets with attachments labelled with their names. My finger hovers over the send button. I have nothing left to lose, do you? Clayton's face hardens. What do you want? My money back, every penny, and a signed confession about what you've done. That's insane, he scoffs. I'd be ruining myself. You should have thought of that before you ruined me. I turn to Maureen, whose face has gone ashen. Why? That's all I want to know. We grew up in different worlds. I never even knew you existed until now. Why hate me so much? Something breaks in her expression, because you had everything I deserved. His name, his love, his legacy. Her voice cracks. Do you know what it's like to grow up watching your father's real family from a distance? To see him at your school events but never be acknowledged? So this was... what? Revenge against him by destroying me? It started that way, she admits. But then I got to know you and I... She stops, conflict flashing across her face. It got complicated. You became friends with me to hurt me, then couldn't go through with it, I say, understanding dawning. So you brought in Clayton to finish the job. He was supposed to break your heart, not steal your money. Maureen glares at Clayton. That wasn't the plan. Clayton laughs coldly. Plans change, opportunities arise. As they turn on each other, I press the button on my phone, not sending the email, but signaling Natalia and Xerxes. Seconds later, a sharp knock at the door makes them both freeze. Police! Open up! Clayton lunges for me, but I'm ready. The self-defense moves Xerxes taught me years ago come back instinctively. Clayton stumbles backward, crashing into the glass coffee table as the door bursts open. But it's not the police who enter. It's Natalia, followed by a man in a suit who flashes a badge. FBI, actually, he says, and we have some questions about those offshore accounts. The chaos that follows is almost beautiful. Clayton lunges for his phone, but the FBI agent, Agent Diaz, is faster. Maureen stands frozen, her face a mask of conflicting emotions as Natalia explains how we've been gathering evidence for days, working with Vanessa and other victims to build a case. You set me up, Clayton snarls at me. I learned from the best. I meet his gaze without flinching. As Agent Diaz reads them their rights, I feel strangely hollow. This is what I wanted, to see them face consequences, to regain control. So why does victory taste so ashen? You okay? Natalia asks softly as the agents lead Clayton away. I don't know, I admit. Maureen hangs back, her wrists cuffed but her eyes fixed on me. Sam, don't. I turn away, unable to bear whatever justification she's about to offer. I kept the letters, she says quickly, from our father, the ones where he promised to tell you about me someday. I freeze. What? He wrote to me every birthday until he died, said he was waiting for the right time to introduce us properly. Her laugh is bitter. The right time never came. You're lying. Check the blue box in my closet, top shelf. Her eyes hold mine. I never lied about loving you, Sam, just about everything else. As the agents lead her away, I stand in the wreckage of Maureen's apartment, trying to process her words. Natalia touches my arm. You don't have to look, she says. But I do. I have to know. The box is exactly where Maureen said, dusty and worn at the edges. Inside are dozens of letters spanning years, all in my father's distinctive handwriting. I open one at random, dated 15 years ago. My dearest Maureen, it begins. I saw you at your school play yesterday. You were magnificent as Lady Macbeth, such fire, such presence. I wanted so badly to tell you how proud I was. My hands shake as I read about his guilt, his cowardice, his promises to someday make things right. The last letter is dated just weeks before his sudden heart attack. I've decided it's time, he wrote. After Samantha's college graduation next month, I'm going to tell her about you. It's long overdue. He died 3 days before my graduation. I sink to the floor, letters scattered around me, the foundations of my life crumbling once again. My father, the man I thought I knew, had lived a double life, loving a daughter from afar while raising me in privilege. The unfairness of it burns in my throat. Sam? Natalia kneels beside me. We should go. I gather the letters carefully. I need to understand. The next morning, I sit in a sterile interview room at the FBI field office, watching through one-way glass as agents question Clayton. His lawyer sits beside him, whispering urgently as Clayton's confident facade crumbles under the weight of evidence against him. He's going to take a deal, Agent Diaz tells me. The financial crimes alone carry significant penalties, but when we add the blackmail, privacy violations, and conspiracy charges. What about Maureen? I ask. Complicated. She's cooperating, providing information about other victims. Her involvement seems more limited to the emotional manipulation rather than the financial crimes. I nod, unsurprised. Maureen's revenge was always personal, not financial. In some twisted way, she'd wanted connection as much as retribution. There's something else, Agent Diaz says, sliding a folder across the table. We found this in Clayton's private server. Thought you should see it. Inside is a detailed dossier on my father, his affair with Maureen's mother, the hush money, the promises broken. But also evidence of another scheme. Clayton had discovered my father's secret years ago and had been planning to use it for political leverage. He was going to expose my father's affair during his campaign, I ask. Not exactly. Agent Diaz points to a highlighted section. He was going to reveal that your father had a secret daughter, but claim it was you who was illegitimate, not Maureen. He had documents altered to support the story. The final betrayal. Clayton hadn't just planned to steal my money. He'd intended to steal my identity, my very place in my family. I close the folder, suddenly clear about what I need to do. I'd like to speak with Maureen, I say. Alone. They arrange it, though reluctantly. When Maureen enters the room, she looks smaller somehow, stripped of her usual confidence. I didn't expect to see you again, she says, sitting across from me. I place the letters between us. He failed both of us. Her eyes fill with tears. I hated you for so long, for having everything I didn't. And I never even knew you existed. I meet her gaze directly. What you did, the manipulation, the lies, I can't forgive that. Not now. Maybe not ever. She nods, accepting this. But we're still sisters, I continue, and I'm done with letting the past dictate my future. I slide a document across the table, a formal request to the prosecutor, written by my lawyer, asking for leniency in her case, in exchange for full cooperation against Clayton. Why would you help me? She whispers. I'm not doing it for you. I stand, gathering the letters. I'm doing it for me, because I refuse to be defined by betrayal anymore. As I walk out of the building into the bright morning light, I feel the weight of the past few weeks, the humiliation, the rage, the calculated revenge, begin to lift. Not disappearing, but transforming into something I can carry without being crushed. I take out Clayton's ring with Colin's name inscribed inside, the catalyst that started everything, and drop it into a storm drain. The small clink as it hits bottom sounds like the period at the end of a very long sentence. Some wounds never fully heal. Some betrayals leave permanent scars. But as I walk away, I realize the most important truth. The people who tried to break me have lost their power to define me. I am not what was done to me. I am what I choose to become.